Thank you so much. I am very honored to be able to share my story with among all the great storytellers that we have here today. And it just is very important that I get to, say this, especially for Black people, male or female of all different ages, have gone through this in a greater sense or a less of a greater sense. And to start my story off, it was March 2018. I had just gotten off work at Microsoft at the time. The sun was out, the skies were completely clear. I had just gotten into my 2005 silver Chevy Impala, and I was ready to kick my feet up. And as I got close to home, which is Issaquah, as she just noted, is primarily a white and wealthy, well off, sense of town where there's kind of no real sense of reality. It's la la land, especially comparing to 3 years prior. I was moving from different places in South Seattle, which people would classify as urban or the hood in certain places. But as I was getting close to home, coming up I-90, around exit 15, a white driver in a red Toyota with clear windows dangerously zoomed past me, going at least 80 miles per hour. As I tried merging to the end of the carpool lane, which was now open to all vehicles, suddenly police lights and sirens blared behind me. Deeply confused as to why I was getting pulled over and not the white speed demon in the Toyota, my anxiety and fear began to grow as I was pulling over. In a mere moment, I flashed back to being a kid, 8 years old, in the back of my mom's car, confused to my mom's apprehension of being pulled over. Growing up, my mom always taught me two things: being Black in America isn't fair, one. Two, certain things would be harder for me. She also taught me to have appropriate fear for the police, especially while driving, to remain silent unless spoken to, turn off all music, and keep your hands on the wheel no matter what, unless you are extremely instructed. I'll never forget the nerves my mom felt growing up when she was pulled over in her 1997 cherry red Cadillac DeVille. Me and my moms were jamming out to some music on a late night drive. It was a good time. We were in extremely high spirits and just really had no care in the world. When out of nowhere, we saw police lights flickering behind us. Suddenly, as my mom turned her music down, 8-year-old me noticed her energy dropped from jovial and happy to nervous and anxious. Once more, this time in a way more serious tone, she broke down the protocols on how to behave around police officers. As I watched her do the protocols and assume the positions of carefully yet firmly placing her hands on the wheel, as she spoke to the officer, I could sense the fear in her heart. Lessons in visual representation I will keep with me forever. And so then, snapping back to my current situation, I turned my music down, rolled my window down, and firmly placed my hands on the wheel as well. Upon walking up to my driver's side window, the officer asked for my ID and registration, which I handed him over. And at that moment, I apprehensively asked the officer, "What did I do by chance to get pulled over, officer?" To which I got an emotionless, quick glare of silence as he began walking off with my information. Hands still firmly on the wheel, my anxiety, confusion, fear, and slight embarrassment continued to grow. About 3 minutes passed until the officer returned, this time to tap on my passenger side window, which I promptly rolled down for him. And again, this time asking him, what did I do wrong? And if I could possibly receive my information back. To which he boldly and aggressively said, for speeding, and to hold on. Now giving me a slight inkling, he's just trying to make my day way more difficult. And knowing my legal rights for speeding, I then asked the officer if I could know how fast I was going to be pulled over. To which, in a derogatory tone, he said he didn't have to tell me, and that it'd be on my ticket. Now deeply confused, slightly embarrassed, and definitely growing more enraged and pissed off, I couldn't understand how I was getting a speeding ticket when at max I was only driving 65 miles per hour. As the officer handed me my information back with the ticket attached, in a slightly Midwest accent and heavily racial undertone, he told me, next time, don't be so mouthy to a police officer, boy. At this point, completely disgusted, completely enraged, and at a loss for words, I felt useless. I felt helpless as I could do nothing as this bigoted officer walked away. As I received the ticket, I saw it was for driving in the carpool lane, one, and driving 78 miles per hour, two, which all wasn't true. After yet another glimpse in my life of being treated unfairly and less than equal, I knew I had to contest this ticket. So after a pissed off, enraged, emotional wait to finally contest the ticket in court, I got everything dropped finally. Happy to be done with the situation, I was deeply saddened to think how purposeful of an inconvenience this officer knowingly made things for me. While in his mindset, I'm sure he was just wanted to put me back in my place. But it was just further proof that no matter where you go, how far you come, how peaceful you are, and all the obstacles you may overcome in your life, you're always at risk for discrimination or police harassment when you're driving while black. And that is the end of my story.